Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Akila, formerly known as Anya Ivy. And today's video, we're going to be getting ready for a pool party. Woo! So, very minimal makeup, but still a look. And while I do my makeup, I'm just gonna be talking about this topic that has been a recurring topic for many years now in my life. Owning your story. And that can mean many things. Owning your story when you may have some things in your life that you may want to hide or you may not want to talk about. I want to start with some Fenty moisturizer because it has SPF in it. This video is not sponsored by them, but a lot of my products are Fenty, so it's Barbados cherry flavor. And that makes me really happy, makes me feel close to Rihanna, you know? Owning your story is such a broad topic because everyone has a story, right? And in my case, it was hard for me to readily talk about my history in porn, especially when I meet new people. And I'll have to kind of feel them out before I say anything or before I feel comfortable enough to mention it as a part of my life, because I don't know I don't know where they're coming from. And the porn industry, being a porn star, it can either go left or right. You don't know who you're dealing with, especially because it is something that people may have their own feelings around based on how they grew up, based on their perspective and view of the world. So I used to be very overly cautious. Now, after having done a lot of work around it, I've gotten to the point where I can fully own it regardless of anyone's opinion. And it's taken me a long time to get to that point. Now, I know this is a pool party, but I'm gonna do my eyeshadow anyway, because even if I sweat it off, which, I mean, may be hard to do because this Fenty shadow primer is it's super sticky. It's super amazing. Primer is a very key ingredient, in my opinion, for any occasion. So how do we get to this point? How do we get to the point where we can fully own the entirety of our story and not just the parts that we feel may be acceptable to others? I was even hesitant and cautious about making this video because I was thinking, I'm not an expert psychologist, or this is not something I have studied extensively and read many texts about. This is just something I think is a turning point in my personal journey that I have had extensive experience with. Getting from a place of, hold on. Getting from being super cautious and hiding and shrinking, feeling very hesitant about revealing certain parts of myself, all the way to the point of standing tall and getting out of my own head and getting out of my own way and giving people a chance to reveal the best parts of themselves too. Now, this is my skin tint, and I'll just put a little bit key points under eye and T. I like to think of makeup as war paint, okay? Something that you can go into the battle of life and feel like a soldier, feel like you're equipped. You know what I mean? Really, I just realized that a lot of the fears we have around not wanting to share certain parts of ourselves based on what people will think, and not wanting people to judge harshly, and wanting to wear a mask, the mask that you feel is going to be the safest, you know? I have realized that a lot of that shit is just all in the head and not even real. We make up stories. We make up so many stories about what is gonna happen and what ifs, and we really play the picture out in our minds. I know I do so much. I have such a wild imagination. I can think of every single scenario. Our minds don't tell the truth, our bodies do. Part of the healing process as well has been doing somatic work and working inside of my body to really calm my nervous system and have the tools to remind myself that I'm okay when my mind tells me I'm not, when my mind starts to make up stories and I go through that spiral. So training the brain, training the mind, training yourself to stay present in the moment and check in with your body is really helpful. I don't really think that there is one solution for being fully confident and like not caring what anyone thinks, because these things are gonna come up. I think it's all about having the tools to deal with them when they do. So it's still a work in progress. It's a daily practice to make myself show up regardless of what comes up in my head, the fears, the anxieties, the imagination that plays the pictures that tell me, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you should stay in bed. Maybe you should play it safe. Maybe these people aren't gonna accept you. How will you ever know if you don't try? Before I quit porn, and I remember this so vividly. Hold on, I wanna get this crease just right. I remember it like it was yesterday because it was so significant how powerful my mind was when I would tell myself that no one was going to accept me if I were to go back into mainstream acting. I used to think, oh no, you're gonna walk into an audition room and they're gonna see you and they're gonna say, get out of here. I really honestly thought that. I thought that I wouldn't be able to even walk into the room because they would just see me and know my entire life and they would just automatically reject me. That's the story I was playing in my head, and it was very loud, and it almost stopped me from taking that class and getting back into the swing of things and going after an agent and getting in those rooms that I needed to be in. Because at the end of the day, once I did get into those rooms, everything was fine. I was there. Obviously, I belonged there. And I was able to stand up no matter how nervous I was and my knees would shake so bad that they felt like jello. I stood up as much as I could and did the work. Because at the end of the day, people are just wanting to work together for a common goal, for a common dream. And if you can show up for people, they show up for you. Right? I think owning your story is all about healing through the parts of yourself that tell you your story is not okay. It's about acceptance, full, wholehearted acceptance. Accepting the thing that happened, accepting the choices that were made. And that takes work. Full acceptance really takes work. And I think that once you accept it once, you have to keep accepting it over and over again as these moments arise that trigger you, that trigger the feeling of, oh no, here we go again. And you get into fight or flight, or you get into the mode of, should I play this role that I think is safe, or should I fully be? Choosing over and over again to accept 100% of who you are. just makes that muscle stronger. And so it gets easier. And so different opportunities show up for you to keep working that muscle, because the thing that you want to hide is the thing that is going to open up so much. It's not comfortable and it doesn't make sense at first when you think about it. But I also like to think of the girl I used to be, who needed to hear from this version of me who has come to the other side. I don't think anything will ever be perfect. I'll always be worrying about something, but at this point, I feel the most in control I've ever felt by accepting I have no control, and also controlling what I can, fully controlling what I can. I suppose having an OnlyFans and still being in this circuit of selling sex and selling sexiness and being a sex symbol is giving me a precious opportunity to rewrite this narrative that I have been taught that showing your body is a bad thing. I always thought of myself as rebellious and naughty and something to be ashamed of, something to hide. And so now that I'm still using my body as a major part of my life and my work, it's giving me a chance to own that too. It's giving me a chance to build a stronger, more empowered version to give to the world, instead of someone that was in it but feeling very bad and shy about it. Yeah, things are changing. Things are a changing for the better, I can tell you that much. Look at that highlight. And as you notice, I don't use a lot of tools. I have a little sponge for when I use concealer and I want to blend that in, but I am not really someone who like bakes and does a lot of the contouring. And I recognize that I'm very blessed that I don't really have to do too much if I don't want. But if it's just regular makeup day, and maybe it's because of my environment right now, but I don't really do the most when it comes to makeup, because I feel like makeup people who experiment, who dabble, they can tell when I've done just the details, and it's appreciated most of the time, especially when someone comes up to me and says, "Ooh, I see you." Love to be seen. I like to think of everything as art, because we are in this life and suffering is a part of it. And I, as an artist, believe that our suffering can be transformed into beautiful things, even if we don't see it at first. And so owning your story allows you to take the parts of your story that you may not like to look at and turn it into something you can look at. To turn it into something that can be viewed as art, that can be timeless, that can help someone else who looks at it years down the line, maybe after you even left this plane. And I don't want anyone to think that there's one path to ownership, or that there's one path to figuring it all out and writing a bestseller and healing and just not having feelings about the shit anymore. I don't think that that is a part of it. I believe that it's all about working it into your life, almost like a pot of clay, and creating a vase, creating a mug, creating something that you can have and hold and be proud of, especially if you're still alive, especially if you've gotten to the other side and you have the blessing of your voice and your health and the ability to show up with it, to show up with everything. Like, this is it. Here I am. Take it or leave it. And it takes so much work. I really wanted to be clear that in my experience, owning your story is all about making it a part of your practice to do so. Making it a part of your practice in the way you show up for the world, in the way you communicate with people, in the way you have awareness of yourself, and whatever you do to heal, therapy, meditation, exercise, whatever you choose, to just bring that into what is going on in your own healing process, or in whatever it is you feel like makes you feel unworthy in some way. We're all worthy of everything. Everything we desire that is in alignment with the highest good of all. And there's really no one else in the way but you. I tell myself that all the time. You're the only one standing in your way. So hopefully this talk was helpful. I think I look really cool. Yeah, buddy. I love me some glitter. And I love showing up to a party with glitter on my face, because then people know that I'm ready to party. All right. I am ready to go. Thank you so much for joining me here and sticking around to listen. And I hope that we can talk a lot more in the future. So don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you back here next time. Leave some comments in the comment section if you enjoyed this talk, and I look forward to the next video.